you guys are standing with USDA on the border closure decision. Talk about the importance of this move to combat the threat of New World Screwworm.
Well, what has become very clear is that the Mexican government has failed to put in the appropriate protocols or policies to control this pest. We first discovered New World Screwworm flies in southern Mexico in November. So it's been almost 6 months, and they have allowed that screwworm to continue to incur northwards into Mexico. As you said, it's only 700 miles from the Texas border. We cannot afford to have New World Screwworms return to the United States because of the devastating impact it would have on our industry, both from an animal health standpoint and an economic standpoint.
Absolutely. And let's talk about that, because we know this safety measure is in place and that's important, but expected to create some economic hurdles for U.S. farmers and ranchers?
There's no doubt about it, because we do rely on feeder cattle coming in from Mexico to help us cover the demand that we are seeing right now. When you look at the lowest cattle herd that we've had since the 50s, but demand being as high as it is, we have to be able to satisfy that demand. And for years, we have been relying upon Mexican feeder cattle, especially with our feedlot members in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California, and also to make sure that we can maintain our packing capacity in several of those southern packing plants. If we lose capacity, if we have to slow it down, or in the worst case scenario, if we lose a packing plant, that is going to have a ripple effect to all cattle producers across the United States, not just those close to the southern border.
Right. And of course, we're just now getting into that grilling season where that peak demand we haven't even hit yet. So you guys also have some resources, I believe, for producers to help protect them from this infestation. So what are some of the main signs and precautions that our ranchers need to keep in mind?
You have to keep a very close look on any lesions or in any cavity that could harbor the larva and then ultimately the worms, because the worms do exactly what their namesake says. They bore or screw into the flesh. These are flesh-eating worms. And so the lesions are fairly clear. You just need to be very cautious and cognizant of those. And we are working very hard right now to get the information out to our producers to identify what those look like, what the flies look like, because even though the border is closed as a precaution, we know that a border closing, a political border closing, is not going to stop a fly from coming across the border. And at only 700 miles away, they're going to be here, unfortunately, probably before we're ready.
Exactly. Got to be proactive. Any final words, advice for our farmers and ranchers moving forward?
We're doing everything we can to support the secretary to make sure the resources are there to protect us. The biggest thing is to make sure that we can start producing sterile flies here in the United States. We need more fly capacity in order to stop this threat, to be able to push it back into Mexico and ultimately push it back into South America. And that is what NCBA is focused on, being able to stop it and push it back so that way we don't have to worry about this again.